And it is now time for Community Corner, sponsored by Scandinavia Designs. You know, the early years are a time of remarkable brain growth in children and lay the foundation for subsequent learning and development. And that's why the Idaho Association for the Education of Young Children makes it their mission to support education for all children in the entire Gem States. We're joined today by Nicole and Beth, both with the Idaho Association for the Education of Young Children. That is a big title, but you are an organization with a very big reach. You support the entire state with a very important foundation. For those who are not familiar with your organization, give us a little background on it.
Sure. So as you said, big name for very big work.
Yeah.
We are a statewide nonprofit organization, and we work to advance early childhood education throughout the state. So that is really about giving opportunities for parents to access and afford childcare, preschool. For families at home, we have lots of resources to help them work with their young children at home in an effort to improve school readiness and ensure that our young children are growing and developing appropriately.
Okay, and why is it important that we have these types of resources available? Why should parents be putting such focus on this type of education so early?
Sure, so the early years are the most important years of a child's life. As a matter of fact, the brain develops 80% by the time that a child is 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so those are critical years in the development of our young children. So the more that we are paying attention to healthy growth and development in those early years, will pay off in years to come.
Okay, and when we talk about healthy development and education, what are we talking about specifically? You know, I've always heard of the hand, right? There's the reading, there's the singing, there's the interaction, right? So like there's 5 steps that are taught to a parent that you really need to encourage in your child at a young age. But what are those? Let's highlight those specifically for our viewer.
Sure. So early childhood education involves everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of people focus on ABCs and 1, 2, 3s.
Yeah.
And as long as kids are reading, they're going to be fine. There's so much more. Social emotional development comes into play. How children are getting along and working with one another is very important. Ensuring that children have self-regulation, meaning that if they are upset about something, how do we help those young children, you know, not get over what's happening, but deal with their emotions internally so that they can enter school ready to get in line for the bathroom.
Yes.
or sit and listen to the teacher or engage in somehow.
Yeah, be better prepared for a formal education,
Yeah,
right?
early literacy, early problem solving, that socio-emotional connection, all of those things.
Yeah, and I'd imagine too that if parents are able to invest in those types of focuses with their kids at an early age, it also can highlight if there might be some developmental challenges that need to be addressed at an early stage, so then they can get the help that's needed early enough to really ensure success once a child enters into a formal classroom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of what we do is we help early childhood educators, so whether that's childcare providers, preschool teachers, parents, identify some maybe developmental delays that are happening in their child, because the earlier that you can address some developmental delays, it really does reduce the amount of times that children have to go into special education. So in terms of investing in our youngest children, whether it's a state or federal or just in a community level, it will pay off in the long run because it's less expensive to you know, support those young children when they're younger than having to go into special ed later.
Yeah, let alone having parents have to navigate those services down the road, right? If you can do it early, that also relieves a bit of that challenge, if you will, right? I almost said burden. It's not a burden, it's a challenge.
Sure, yes,
yes,
of course.
And really quick too, so you have mentioned that why this is important, but there are services that you provide for teachers, for parents, all throughout the state of Idaho. Really quick, highlight a couple of those services so people have a better understanding of how you can help them.
Of course.
Ready for Kindergarten is one that we offer all across the state. It is for families and caregivers of young children ages 0 through 5. It is 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. It is just helping families understand where their children are at with their learning, with early literacy, early problem solving. Again, that socio-emotional understanding of themselves and creating healthy connections with others. You go to the class and you learn about your child, and then you leave with a free kit of early education resources. So that's a really great one. We have our early learning collaboratives across the state. We have 25, and they support our Ready for Kindergarten programs, preschool roundups, and so smaller communities, they'll have groups, different preschools come in and showcase their opportunities to families at those, and so families can actually enroll their children in preschool and things like that.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So you guys have a lot of support, not just those classes like you mentioned, but you are supporting them with tools for them to continue that once they leave. We've only hit the tip of the iceberg.
That's right.
I know, with such a massive program covering the entire state. I know that people can lean in. If they don't need your services, they can volunteer. They can probably donate, right, to make sure that we can continue offering these services throughout the state of Idaho. But if people watching too also need to take advantage of some of those services, where do they go for both?
That is right. So you can always visit our website at idaho-today.org. And we're always looking for donations. We are looking for folks to help us provide these services to families, to communities, to our early childhood educators, the whole gamut. So people are more than welcome to donate to help us with our operations and those services. We're always looking for volunteer opportunities as well. So visit our website, idaho-aeyc.org.
Wonderful. Greatly appreciate it. What a fantastic message to share. Incredibly important. Everyone stick around. A lot more to come right here on Idaho Today right after the break.